A clash of two top 25 teams ends in a last-minute lead change and a stunning overtime result. I'm Kevin Jackman. That and more on the Red Zone.
Central journeying up to University of Wisconsin-Platteville for the first time ever. Cardinals winning the previous two matchups, but on their home turf. Cards rocking the new sleek black helmets for the first time. Quarterback Tom Kelly trying to push his Pioneers to a perfect 3-0 record. Opening kickoff, Austin Brunick back to receive, hauls it in, and right off the top, some trickery. Andrew Sled sweeps around, takes the toss, and puts the offense in good position at the 35. 2 plays in, Shane Brown with some happy feet, getting those legs all charged up, taking off like Usain Bolt. 62 yards to the house. 7-0 just 48 seconds in. Kelly with some absurd stats through 2 games. How about 7 touchdowns and a 77% completion percentage? Hooking up with Dan Arnold, who yanks it in with one arm. Tie ball game. Back on offense, what can Brown do for you? How about delivering a 19-yard score right down Main Street? 14-7 in the second quarter. Last week we saw Pat Craven drop a sure-handed pick. This week, not so much. Redemption brings it down and goes to work. Look at these moves. We got a Houdini on D. All in all, 6 missed tackles. Cardinals on the offensive end capitalizing. Dylan Warden buying some time, moving up before firing a dart, and bullseye. Ryan Cool on the receiving end for his second touchdown of the year, make it a 21-7 NCC lead. Kelly dropping back, trying to bring back his Pioneers, and that won't work. Tyler Oakley puts it out of the air, second INT of the day for Kelly. Just before the end of the third quarter, Justin Hunterford taking a trip downtown. D. Gray with a highlight reel grab. Upon further review, just look at it. Around the corner to make the catch, pickup of 30. With O'Shane Brown going out with a leg injury, Austin Brunick steps in and steps up. Following the blockers, hits the corner, and zoom, 28-7. Defense keeping it coming against Kelly. First, it's Justin Sturzma flying in through the B-gap. Then Rich Zerngable off the corner blitz, back-to-back sacks. Penalties would extend the drive and keep it alive long enough for Kelly to loft a softie to the corner. That's where Arnold is, and yet again, a second touchdown for the wide receiver. Lee cut to just 7. Cardinals tried to run out the clock but forced a punt, but Dylan Vilhauer raises the roof inside Ralphie Davis Pioneer Stadium with a 75-yard return. Tie game. To overtime. Kelly rams it through the right side. Pioneers putting pressure on NCC. 4th and 10 now. Hunterford steps up. Nick from behind and incomplete. Platteville comes back to stun the Cardinals 35-28.
Welcome to the Red Zone. This week we're bringing you the show from the campus of North Central College inside the decorated Cardinal room. Joining me now is head football coach Jeff Thorne. Coach, how do you digest that game against University of Wisconsin-Platteville? You guys played so well for 3 quarters. Yeah. It was just a series of bad luck towards the end. How do you as a coach kind of dissect it and digest it following that game?
It's tough to swallow, obviously. Certainly the day of and the next day you watch the film and you see the mistakes that were made, and things that we could have done differently as coaches, certainly. So it's frustrating. You know, I'd love to say that luck played a role in it, but it didn't. We made too many critical mistakes at critical points in the game. You know, I think we did some really good things too. That's a very, very good football team. Give Platteville all the credit. They are well coached. They've got some great athletes that can run and really make life difficult on both an offense and a defense, and they did that. But the penalties really, really hurt us, and we've got to be more disciplined in those situations.
The running game was really good, especially through those first 3 quarters. O'Shane was pounding out yards. Yeah. Austin Brunick came in and really lit it up on that 150-yard touchdown run. Is that going to be something that you guys lean on moving forward, because it was moving pretty well?
Well, that's what we've hung our hat on for quite a while now here. Offensively speaking, we want to run the football first and use play action off of that running game as best we can. So that won't change. Losing O'Shane is going to hurt. He's just off to such a great start. It's a shame to have that happen. But we're confident in both Austin and Andrew Sled, and Matt Randolph will get some more carries again. And there's some young guys, some freshmen that we brought in this year that are very good too. So somebody will step up.
Yeah, 2 games. I want to talk about the passing game. Dylan threw that nice touchdown pass, had a nice little zip on that ball to Ryan Kuhl. Justin didn't have the best of game, but how do you get that passing game going again after that first week where we're pretty efficient through the air?
Yeah, you know, Justin didn't have I don't think Justin played poorly at all. He didn't have a lot of opportunities, and when he was thrown back into the game, you know, you're throwing a freshman back into the game on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 12, and he came through. I thought Justin actually played pretty well after the first couple series. It's a new environment. That was a really electric environment, and again, a game between 2 top 20 programs is a little bit different than what we had that first week. So, you know, it took him a little bit of time to get adjusted to, and I thought he did some great things in the passing game.
Now, the offensive line did a nice job, especially opening up holes for the running game. As a coaching staff, you always try and find consistency on that offensive line. Do you think they're starting to find that they're consistently opening up a nice pocket for the passers and holes for the running game?
That was actually one of our issues this week. We struggled in pass protection. Obviously, we gave up 5 sacks if you looked at the game log, so that was frustrating. That's a combination of what we're doing up front, also with our running backs, and the quarterbacks getting the ball out on time. So those are things, you know, some of those things that we saw on film that we've got to get corrected going forward.
Switching to the other line, defensively, you guys were stout against the run. I mean, you were really good against the run. Moving forward, you feel pretty confident that group can stop just about any rushing attack?
We have a very formidable defensive line that we have a lot of confidence in, and I thought they played excellent football for 3 quarters. We got into a little bit of a track meet there in the 4th quarter, and again, we got 2 defensive stops. The penalties continued to drive, so I really felt like we did some great things on defense. Once we gave them those extra opportunities, they ended up running 91 plays, and that's a lot of plays to defend over the course of a game. But we're very confident in the defense that we're going to put on the field week to week, and I think it'll be one of the better defensive units we've had in the last several years.
Now you talk about just kind of the sheer volume of plays that they ran, 56 passes. How tough is it for the back end of the defense to continually try to protect against 56?
It's difficult. It's tiring. You know, those defensive backs and linebackers are running all over the field against a team that spreads you out as well as Platteville does. I thought we did a decent job of rotating players and getting different guys in and out of the game to get them some rest. But that's definitely a challenge, and that's one of the things that Platteville throws at you is when you throw it that much, incompletions, the clock stops. So you're going to get more plays. So that's kind of the nature of the beast when you face a team like that.
I want to talk about Wesley coming up.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. Next on the Red Zone, we'll take a look at this week's opponent, number 5, Wesley College. We'll be right back.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
It's the Red Zone on NCTV 17, continuing our talk with head football coach Jeff Thorne. Coach, you'll look forward to this Wesley team. They're a very athletic bunch. They have a lot of speed. What was your first impression when you took a look at their game tape and you start to formulate your game plan? What was your first impression?
Well, we've had the opportunity to see them before. They played Mount Union in 2013 in the quarterfinals, the week before we played Mount Union. So we'd already seen them on tape. You know the history. You know, when you're in the Division III world, you know the history of Wesley College and what kind of program they have. Coach Drass has been there for, I think, 20 years or 20-plus years and just notched his 200th win last week, and they named the field after him. So it's an exciting opportunity for our guys to play a team of that caliber. They're incredibly athletic, very, very well coached, and they're gonna be our biggest challenge to this point. I mean, it's exciting, though.
When you have a team like this that is this high caliber, does it make it more fun for you because you know that that margin for error is that much smaller?
No question. I mean, this is why you get into this business as a player or a coach, is you want to play in these kind of games. If we could do this every week, it'd be great. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we should have a great atmosphere here on Saturday. And it's a chance really to put, we've already put last week behind us, but when you have that kind of a gut-wrenching loss, it's really rare that you have an opportunity the very next week to play the same type of game and really get your confidence back and play great football and put the last one behind you, put it to bed.
Now, through 2 weeks and going on your third week, you're taking over the helm of the coaching staff. Almost everybody has returned on that coaching staff. How would you evaluate their performance through the first 2.5? Their
performance has been great. My performance has not been good enough. Obviously, we lost Saturday, and there were things that we could have done differently, and then at the end of the day, it falls on me. So we've got to get better as a staff, and we'll keep working that way to help put our guys in the best position to be successful on Saturday.
Speaking of those coaches, this week on Cardinal Corner, we sat down with recent players turned coaches, Mark DeLaurier and Shane Dierking, to talk about that transition. Let's take a look at this week's Cardinal Corner.
From battling alongside in the trenches one year to donning a whistle and a baseball cap the next, grad assistant Mark DeLaurier is making the transition to the sidelines this year.
It has been a difficult transition, but it has also been very fun. I've had to grow and learn from a leadership aspect and really have my voice heard in front of an entire group instead of just in front of the O-line.
Part of that group includes a teammate DeLaurier has blocked for 2 years, O'Shane Brown. But by trading pads for clipboards, DeLaurier is now getting a different kind of coaching.
Brown, nice juke to his left, and now he's off to the races on the 40.
I would definitely say Coach Wilson, Coach Janisek, as well as Shane, Coach Dierking, the other GA. They really brought me along. Last year, I definitely saw them as coaches, and they've brought me into the group, and I feel like a coach and a member of the staff now.
Shane Dierking is now in his second year as a grad assistant, allowing him to give DeLaurier some pointers.
There's very specific things that you have to do. You know, you can make mistakes easily, so it's just paying attention to detail is the biggest thing. And, you know, just double-checking, triple-checking your work.
Like DeLaurier hopes to do, Dierking made the transition from player to coach rather seamlessly, commanding respect from the start following his record-breaking playing career, which may or may not come up from time to time.
I don't talk about it. Maybe if someone, one of the kids say I have bad hands or I drop a ball, then I might mention it, but no, it's something that I don't talk about, you know.
The hope for these two GAs is to accrue time and knowledge as a coach, which DeLaurier has already found to be true.
It's forced me to understand football from a different perspective and really be a better coach.
So, Coach, how do you think those two made the transition from players to coaches? Obviously, it's a little bit different authoritative-wise because now they're kind of the guys in charge.
You know, Shane, it was a pretty seamless transition last year. Both of them have automatic credibility just because of the type of people they are. Shane is one of the most intense players that we've ever had here in our 14 years. I mean, it's a very close competition between he and Matt Wanger for that distinction and that title. Mark is without question one of the toughest players we've ever had here. Mark missed, I think, 2 practices in his entire career, never missed a start. One of those practices was because he had poison ivy his freshman year, so you know, he didn't have a choice. We made him not practice. So those are the types of guys you want around, guys that you can rely upon. You know they're going to be there, and they've done a great job, both of them.
The last thing I want to get to, we can squeeze this in. Pat Cravens, we kind of made fun a little bit last week. He totally made a 180 this week and had probably one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life. And on that interception return, it was pretty incredible.
Pat played a great game Saturday. He's a tremendous athlete. Those are the types of things we expect to see from Pat as the season wears on. And you're going to have a lot of fun watching Pat Cravens play. And he's the kind of guy that he saw that, he heard that, his teammates gave him a hard time about it. He's exactly the right guy to do that too because you know he's going to respond. He won't have it any other way.
Coach, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Best of luck on Saturday. It's going to be fun.
Thanks.
Coming up next on the Red Zone, we'll sit down with Eric Knaperek and Jeremy Niklos. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Before we sit down with the players, it's time for this week's Play of the Week. After dropping a chance last week, Pat Cravens not only intercepts a Tom Kelly pass, but weaves in and out and even through traffic on his way to a phenomenal return, capturing the Red Zone's Play of the Week.
On set now in the Cardinal room, we have Eric Knaperek and Jeremy Niklos. A tough loss last week. There were some highlights, and especially one of those, Eric, was the rushing game. You guys really put your hands in the dirt and paved the way for that running game. How special are those running backs, and how much do you love run blocking for those guys?
Well, starting off that game with the second play touchdown with O'Shane Brown, there's no better feeling than that second play. And you know, we've got O'Shane back there, we've got Austin back there, we've got Sled. Unfortunately, O'Shane endured that injury this past week, torn ACL. But Austin's ready to step up. He's shown promising stuff. And Sled's got the speed of a maniac right now. He started in track and field at Southern, went to California for football, and luckily he's a Cardinal now.
You talk about those backs. Austin turned the corner on that one big 50-yard run. You guys got out in front. Can he be the workhorse back that you guys need?
I honestly could see him. His top speeds are going north and south, and when he makes that cut, he's ruining people's cutoff lanes, and I could see him playing a big role for us.
Now let's shift the attention to the defense rather, and you guys you have a bunch of enforcers on the back end of that defense. Yourself, Kevin Schroeder. Do you guys just kind of enjoy laying those big hits across the middle to break up the receiver from the ball?
Oh yeah, that's one of the best things about playing defense is you get to lay the wood. I always never liked offense because I got tackled, but to tackle others, it's an awesome feeling.
Now you guys got thrown upon 56 times. Now that's not a normal number to have put up against you guys. Do you feel like if you got that into that situation again that you'd respond a little bit differently, that you would be able to kind of, towards the end of the game, be able to ensure that back end is pretty rock solid?
Yeah, I think overall we played well. I mean, with that many passes, you're going to give up a couple completions, but that's the life of a DB. You have to be short-minded and just get through it onto the next play.
Now back to offense, I want to talk about the quarterback play because you have the revolving door between Dylan Warden and Justin Hunterford. Both guys have completely different skill sets, but both are very successful with what they do. As the offensive line, how do you, as one of the captains as well, evaluate their two play?
They've each got a special way to play, like you said. But us five up front, we're just going to do our job regardless of who's back there, which is good. And this past weekend we had some. We had some busts, and that's something that's not acceptable, and something we've heard a bunch through, just the past few days of watching film and such, and stuff we're going to fix. But whoever's back there, we're going to play our hardest and give it our all.
Now we know it's not physical. Is it a matter of communication on some of those breakdowns?
They're coming in and out, Justin and Dylan. But we're looking at the sideline to get our play, and then us five up front are communicating within ourselves. If the QB's got a check, he'll let us know. But they're both pretty good at keeping us in touch.
Now looking forward to Wesley because they've got a lot of athleticism on that defense as well. How have you guys started to game plan to kind of assemble some sort of scheme to keep them out of the backfield?
Right. Just watching film, we see they run a base defense, 4-2, some Okie stuff maybe. They've got good size in their D tackle spot and athletic ends. But we've seen a lot of players. Between Pat Bolger and I, we've had a good amount of starts, and we just share our knowledge with those kids that are playing next to us. So, you know, when we game plan, we all bring it together. We've seen a lot of players. These guys are going to be stout, but, you know, we're not afraid of anybody.
It's a good attitude.
Yeah.
I like that. Defensively, you guys are going to be facing a similar attack this next week. It's Wesley, and their quarterback has put up some pretty video game-like numbers. I think it's something like 8 touchdowns and 700-something yards through the air. How do you game plan for that for the second consecutive week?
I mean, he's a very good quarterback, and he likes to scramble. So we're pretty much just going to play the scramble drill a lot, attach the receiver, and just play ball. It's almost going to be like playing out in the street.
Because Rich Zerngable was actually behind the line of scrimmage quite a bit. Had that one tackle or the one sack. Is that part of the game plan to try and disrupt the running game and possibly even the passing game by sending corner blitzes or safety blitzes?
Yeah, it's always an option. You know, DBs never really get to blitz, so we're always happy when we get to. So
when you get your number called, it's got to be a nice feeling, right?
Oh yeah, it's always a great feeling when you can finally blitz instead of guarding a big old receiver.
Now you can't show that emotion, I'm sure, because I'm sure in your head you're kind of doing a little jig, thinking, "Hey, I get to rush the quarterback," but
yeah. You always have to disguise it.
You got this big old grin on your face, approaching the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, all you can think about is the sack dance after.
Now I want to talk about something fun as well, and that's Hard Knocks, because you guys put together a nice little series before the season started. Eric Duthie was the one that's been editing it all. You said it was your guys' idea, your group of friends. How do you think that turned out? Because I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, it was awesome. All the parents loved it. Like, we got a lot of good responses from it. It was fun making it too. It got us to kind of bond over it because you just see everybody just watching the video on their phone as soon as it comes out.
Now I noticed you were pretty heavily involved, especially during the offensive line episode, and you guys showed some character. Was that a lot of fun for you?
Yeah, you know, props goes to Eric Duthie. You know, he just gives us the camera, be our goofy selves. But yeah, camp, it's more than a grind, you know. You're meeting all these players, all your, you know, new friends for the next, well, us seniors, you know, we've been friends for 4 years, but these freshmen are coming in, they're going to be friends for 4 years, and it's just a moment to like click together and not think about football and be goofy. I've got a belly flop in there, just being my goofy self, I guess, but it's a blast.
It was a lot of fun to watch, guys,
yeah.
And good luck on Saturday. It was a lot of fun having you guys on.
Thanks for having me.
Now, next up on the Red Zone, Clark Teuscher swings by to update us on Cardinal Athletics. You have the Red Zone.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
He's the Sports Information Director here at North Central College, and he joins us now in the Cardinal room. It's Clark Teuscher. Thanks for stopping by.
Well, we were already here, so we're glad you guys came by.
Well, the first thing I want to get to is the women's cross-country team. Megan Costanzo is having a terrific season. The team as a whole is off to a good start as well.
Yeah, you know, they're just kind of getting started, and the coaching staff's always had a long-term approach to you know, how they take on, you know, competition and how they schedule who's going to run when. And you know, Megan is coming off a fantastic track and field season and looks like she's in shape to continue that here during the cross-country season.
Now, from one women's team to another, it's a torrid start for the women's volleyball team. They have been fantastic. I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row now. They're 12-2 on the season. Things are looking really good around the nets.
Yeah, you know, that's the kind of start they wanted to have, and you know, there's, you know, the non-conference schedules kind of jumble around and shuffle from year to year. So, you know, you're looking at, you know, the common opponents that you play every year, and the results have been very favorable against those teams. So, you know, they've got another week or so to prepare for conference play, and they're feeling very good about where they're at right now.
Now you look at on the golf course, the women's golf team is off to a nice start. They've got a couple people that are out in front of the charge. Megan Kelly is certainly one of them. She's averaging 82 on the golf course, which is quite a bit better than I can shoot on the golf course. But they look pretty good.
Yeah, that was kind of a question, you know, who was going to step up and fill that #1 spot for that team, and it looks like Megan's accepted that responsibility. She's had career best performances for 18 and 36 holes each of the last 2 tournaments, so it's hard to argue with that kind of progress.
Might have to get some golf lessons from her. Men's golf team, Eric Gruber and company are really making a charge. A disappointing finish, 10 out of 12 teams at North Park, but they're going to be moving along into the season, and they look to progress as well.
The good thing about that's, that the way they performed in that tournament was, I think the top 5 guys were all within 3 strokes of each other. So, there's not a weak link out there that's gonna bring the team score down. So, as they continue to progress, that's the course that's going to host the conference championships in the spring. So they've got 6 months or so to get to work on some of the things that they're going to need to improve, and they'll have some real life experience playing on that course specifically. So, wasn't quite the finish that they wanted, but they're in a good place moving forward.
Talk about experience. One team that is very experienced is the women's soccer team, considering the fact that they've returned all their starters this year, and it has showed so far in 2015. They're off to a very good start. They just had their 5-game winning streak snapped, but they're preparing for the conference portion of the schedule, and from the looks of it, they're going to be pretty successful in the CCIW.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. They had an early 2-goal lead in that game and weren't able to hold on to it, and had a couple of injury situations that happened that they're going to have to figure out who's going to step up and fill those spots. But they were on about a 5-game run there, and didn't give up a goal for about 4.5 of them. So. Certainly defensively very, very strong. That's been the goal of the coaching staff, to build a team that was strong from the back, which they're going to need to be, with a lot of talented teams that score a lot of goals in conference play.
Now you look at Bonnie Young's performance as the coach, quite a bit of a turnaround from the last couple of years. It's got to be encouraging to see her take the program and really steer it in the right direction.
As a first-time head coach, there were some growing pains there. Bonnie came in from a Division I background at Penn State, and really, needed to take some time to learn, how things like recruiting and things like those things worked, at the Division III level. It's very, very different from what she was used to in the Big Ten. So, she's really worked hard to learn and figure those kinds of things out. She's had great support from the administration here in the athletic department, and she's gotten to a place where she's able to use not only the context that she had as a player and a club coach, but also being able to tailor her recruiting message and her targeting specific prospects to what we have available in Division III. So certainly a lot of work and a lot of adjustment for her, and I think we're seeing the benefits of that now.
Now, one sport that hasn't quite gotten off to its start yet, but there's a lot of excitement growing, is men's volleyball. There's a big group coming in. They're looking to really make an impact in their first season as a varsity sport.
Phenomenal recruitment effort by Kyle Exline, the head coach. He's got about 30 guys coming in. Really mostly freshmen, but some talented transfers that lived in the area, but came back to have a chance to compete close to home. And when you have you always have those headaches that come with first-year students in your program. Well, he's got a whole team full of them, so there's a lot of education that's happening off the volleyball court right now in the next 3 or 4 weeks before they start practice. So certainly everybody's interested to see how they're going to perform in a new conference, Midwest Collegiate Volleyball League. And they're going to get started right away. I think they've got conference matches that first week. So, we're everybody really anxious to see what we're going to be able to have to offer in the sport of men's volleyball.
Count me as one of them. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. It's fun as always.
All right, thank you.
That's all the time we have on this edition of the Red Zone. Be sure to tune in to NCTV 17 comes Saturday for the big North Central Wesley Showdown. Kickoff comes your way at 1 o'clock. For everyone here at the Red Zone, I'm Kevin Jackman saying so long. We'll see you next week.